Think about it. If we have to live without electricity for 15 years, then how will our life be? Will we humans be able to survive without electricity, or will we die? Let's find out. So the story begins in some old days in Chicago, where all humans had electricity. Here we see a girl named Charlie, who was watching a cartoon. Meanwhile, her younger brother Danny was playing a game on his iPad, and his mom Rachel was talking to someone on the phone. That's when her husband Ben comes home in a panic and tells him that he doesn't have much time, on which Rachel asks him, "What are you talking about?" Suddenly, lights start blinking in Ben's house and some files start downloading on his laptop, which are also 100% downloaded in the next second, after which he takes out the USB from his laptop and puts it in a metal locket. Meanwhile, on the other side of the highway, Miles and his friend leave their car where there was a line of cars behind them whose headlights were also turning off one after the other. Planes were also crashing here and there in the sky, transformers were exploding on the ground, and even the Willys Tower was completely black. After this, we look at the Earth from space, where the electricity was slowly disappearing from the Earth. Darkness was spreading from the north of the USA to the east and south, and it was such a time all around that it was like a candlelight dinner. But for today's generation, i.e. Gen Z, not having internet means the coming of the apocalypse. After this, we are told a story from which we learn that the blackout day has been more than 15 years. After the blackout day, electricity did not come back, due to which all the things running on electricity became useless. Even people's car engines, jet turbines, and even small batteries were completely damaged. Because of all these things, on a large scale, everyone's conditions were very bad. The disease increased, but no medicine was found. There was fire, but there were no cars to put out the fire. There were factories, but there was nothing to eat there, and all the people were working by hand, after which the governments began to fall, and the military began to fall. After the blackout, the United States was divided into 6 parts, which were the Monroe Republic, the Georgia Federation, the Plains Nation, Texas, the California Commonwealth, and the rest was barren land. Seeing the situation of all these cities, most of the people had shifted somewhere else from here. One of them was his sister and her family, because they had started living in the village area, which was the Monroe Republic, a peaceful colony where a few hundred people had settled. Here we learn that Ben's wife died a few years ago, and now he was dating a British medical doctor, Maggie. His children Danny and Charlie have also grown up now, but Danny prefers to live alone because he is suffering from asthma. One day, Charlie goes to the jungle with his brother, where he sees an abandoned van. Charlie goes inside it and finds there a mini fridge, which reminds him of his childhood, when after the blackout day, his parents gave him that melted ice cream because it was the last ice cream of that time. One day, when Charlie goes for a walk in the jungle like every other day, then Monroe Militia, which is the military force of the Monroe Republic, as soon as it enters the colony, it says Dava. A tattoo was engraved on the wrist of the militia, which was the symbol of the members of the Monroe Republic with which they could be recognized. Now, because this is the time of the settlement of the Monroe Republic, that's why it is their responsibility to give their profits to all the people living there as tax, although Ben knows that this is much more than tax. Ben thinks that something bad is going to happen to him, so he goes to his best friend Aaron and gives him that locket, in which Ben had put that USB at the beginning of the movie. Ben tells Aaron that no matter what happens, don't let anything happen to this locket. Then the captain of that militia group, Major Tom Neville, comes there and asks Ben to come with him. He asks him about his brother Miles, to which Ben says that he has not met Miles for the past 15 years. All the people present there are scared to see that the militia group is taking its steps back, that suddenly Danny comes there and threatens not to take his dad by crossbow pointing at him. Ben tries to calm him down, but it is of no use, and by mistake, Danny shoots him, by which an enemy present there is killed. Seeing this, all the people start attacking the militia, but they have no competition in this fight, and many people are killed by the militia, in which Tom and the rest of the people are left behind. But the militia had captured Danny. After a while, when Charlie returns home, she finds her dad hanging in the blood where he was taking his last breath. He tells her that the people of the militia have kidnapped Danny, and now the last hope of those people is only Miles, who is living somewhere in Chicago. Charlie tries to save her dad by crying, but Ben tells her to find Miles before he dies, after which he dies. Charlie was completely broken by her dad's death, but she didn't have time to mourn. She packs her stuff and gets ready to go out alone, but Maggie and Aaron don't let her go alone, after which they themselves get ready to go with her, which Charlie doesn't like at all. After this, the three of them travel through dangerous paths all day, which makes the bond between the three of them stronger. The next day, when Charlie goes to the waterfall to get water, she sees a boy named Nate who stops there. Now, since the whole world was in a blackout, after that, every person was considered dangerous for the first time. Even for a girl like Charlie, a lot is in the brain, but fortunately, Nate only asks her name and lets her go. That night, Charlie and his friends get a broken plane in which they plan to spend the night. But unfortunately, this was the hideout of the scavengers group where some thieves come here to see them, and one of them takes Charlie away from them with a knife.
Maggie feels a little danger here. That's when she uses her sharp mind to make the thieves drink whiskey, after which they vomit and die. On the other hand, the last thief tries to kill Charlie. That's when Nate comes there and saves him. The next morning, Nate goes with the three of them because he finds out that he is also going to Chicago with them. Maggie gets confused seeing him air keen because Nate was completely unknown to her. That's why she warns Charlie that he shouldn't trust anyone just like that. But after a while, she remembers that not everyone is bad. That's why she didn't have any problem with Nate anymore. In the next scene, when Major Tom and his army were resting, Danny takes advantage of this and tries to run away from there, and runs away by opening the lock of the handcuffs. But after running a little further, he gets a stroke and he falls near a house and faints. A few hours later, when he wakes up, he sees a girl with a gun pointing at him. That girl tells him her name Grace and asks him where he came from, to which Danny tells him some people had kidnapped him from whom he came here. Hearing this, the girl drops the gun, after which she gives him an asthma pump and tells him that it belongs to his dead son. After this, we see the group of four who finally reach Chicago, which is in Monroe Republic. It is worth seeing here that Wiggly Field is completely covered with ivy plants. The roads are full of fishermen, and cars like Volkswagen and Beetle have been converted into horse carriages. After Ben's information, they all reach a hotel and ask the bartender about Miles. At first, the bartender refuses to know a person named Miles, but when Charlie tells him about his dad Ben, that he recently died, he tells him that he is Miles himself, but he tells them to keep their identity a secret. After a while, Miles takes his niece inside and talks to him privately, where Charlie tells how Miltia brutally killed her dad and kidnapped Danny and took him with her. After which Charlie asks him that, why are they after our family? To which Miles says that Ben certainly knew something about that blackout. He says that the leader of Monroe Republic, General Monroe, was a cruel dictator who wanted to take over the whole country and the whole world. But for that, he needed some weapons, like fighter planes, tanks, and even nuclear bombs. And because Ben was the only person who knew why the blackout happened, and Monroe believed that he could deal with it. After hearing all this, Charlie gets more worried about her brother Danny and asks her uncle to help her. But surprisingly, he refuses to help her because he believed that this work is very risky and he is not worthy of doing this work. And getting angry with this, Charlie gets ready to go back to her group. Seeing her worried, Nate goes to Miles in a mood to fight. But then Miles grabs Nate's hand and gets up, where it is found that Nate is also a member of Monroe Militia, and he wanted to reach Miles with Charlie and his friends. Everyone is surprised to know this, but before he could do anything, Nate runs away from there. Now, despite knowing the location of the militia, Miles refuses to leave his place because he believed that he could face the entire army alone. Charlie and the rest of the people were ready to help Miles, but Miles in anger shouts at him and tells him to go away from here. After a while, Nate takes a lot of army with him and comes to fight with Miles. But despite being so many soldiers, Miles fights with everyone using swords and kills everyone one by one, after which Charlie and his friends come back and join the fight with Miles. Meanwhile, a man from the militia tries to kill Charlie, but suddenly Nate comes and kills that man. After a while, Miles kills the captain of the militia and ends the fight, after which he leaves with Charlie and the rest of the people to find Danny. Everyone is very happy to hear this. After a while, Miles suddenly remembers a flashback of that blackout day, and the scene goes into a flashback, where after the world was suddenly filled with darkness, he goes out of the car with his friend and goes to the Marine Corps base with his friend, where we find out that they are both Marine police. To go inside, he sees a tattoo on his hand called M, which tells us that Miles' friend, whose name is Sebastian Monroe, and he's also the leader of Monroe Republic. On the other hand, Major Tom and his men follow Danny's footprints and reach Grace's house. Scared, Grace tries to save Danny, but as soon as Tom threatens to kill him, she backs off and Tom enters her house and catches Danny. After they leave, Grace quietly goes to the basement and takes out a locket that was exactly like an Aaron's locket. As soon as she presses it, a bulb suddenly turns on in the room. After that, Grace puts that locket in the computer and starts chatting with someone. On the other hand, The one who was chatting with Grace was very happy that Militia did not find out about their hidden secret. Here, present, Miles keeps the group with him, who is looking for his old companion, whose name is Nada, who is an expert in making explosives. Miles tells Charlie that if he wants to save Danny, he will need a fast fighter like Nada. Here in the tavern, some enemies attack him, but this time too, Miles defeats everyone. Then he catches a man and asks Nada's location while strangling him. Here we find out that Militia has also caught Nada, and at this time she is living as a servant in Militia. That night, Miles decides to go out alone, saying that going there is not free from danger, after which he gets ready and asks the rest of the group to meet in Lowell, Indiana 2 weeks later. However, the next morning when Maggie and Aaron wake up, they find out that the stubborn Charlie has also left with Miles, which they don't like at all. Now they had no choice. Therefore, Aaron gives Locket to Maggie, which Ben had given her. He also tells her that Ben had asked her to meet a lady in Grant Park, who is none other than Grace. Although both are still worried about Charlie, but they think that she'll be fine, and instead of her, they go to Grant Park to find Grace. They both go to find Grace, where they think that Grace can be the key which can bring electricity back to Earth. On the other hand, when Major Tom and his men were leading his army and was going towards his den, then he hears the sound of a bullet. As soon as they hear it, they change their route and follow the sound of the gunshot. As they follow it, they reach a small house where they find out that in this Monroe Republic, a common man cannot keep his personal guns and bullets. That's why they use crossbows and other weapons. Because of this, Major Tom threatens the owner of that house to give him all the weapons of his house. That man thinks that he will be killed even after giving the weapons. That's why he takes out a gun from his house and shoots a man standing outside. That's when Major Tom shoots that man and blows him up. After all this, we see Danny, who is scared. In the next scene at the Militia's den, we meet the former General Monroe, who is involved in all these bad things. Monroe asks a man about his weapons, but when that scared man doesn't answer him, he mercilessly kills him. After that, he goes to another worker in another room, where we find out that this is Ben's wife, Rachel, whom we consider dead.
Here, Monroe tells Rachel that Ben is dead, and Rachel gets very upset. Meanwhile, Charlie roams the jungle all day and finally finds his uncle, where Miles was angry with him because he didn't listen to him. But when Charlie tells him that his brother has asthma, he calms down. After a while, he sees a lot of workers who were pulling the helicopter by hand. Here we find out that General Monroe believes that one day electricity will definitely come, and for that day, he starts preparing himself right away. Among all these workers, Miles also sees Nora and tells Charlie that it will be difficult to save her because many guards here have sniper rifles, but Miles wants to save his friend at any cost. He makes a plan to save Nora and waits for the night to come, and as soon as the night comes, Charlie first creates a distraction and drives away the guards present there. Then he hides behind the guards and finally saves Nora and takes her with him. But Nora gets upset with this because she herself was a prisoner because she had to steal his rifle. Those snipers have such weapons which are usually difficult to find. After a while, Miles tells Nora that he needs her help to save his niece, for which she agrees immediately. But in return, she asks him to steal the rifle from the snipers. Miles finds this difficult, but at this time he had no choice but to listen to Nora. After a while, the three of them go to a hut nearby, where they plan to save Danny. By using the gunpowder, Nora makes a temporary weapon, which she will use to kill the guards with the snipers. But the problem is that the effect of this weapon will only last for a few meters, which means that one of them will have to go near the guard and shoot him. They plan that Miles and Nora will easily catch them, but Charlie will be their last option. Before leaving here, Miles tells them that as soon as all the guards die, they will remove all the guards. After a while, Charlie hides her weapon in her sleeves and pretends to be a lost person and goes to the guards, after which she immediately takes the weapon and goes to the guards and immediately kills them. Before the rest of the guards could do anything, Nora and Miles come and attack them. After this fight, when they were freeing all the workers, Nora reveals that she had stolen the sniper for her rebel. In the Grand Park, when Grace is typing on her computer, a man enters her house and comes in front of her. That man also had the same locket that was leaving his taser stick energy. On the other hand, Miles tries to convince Nora to leave the rebel, but she refuses. Here we find out that they were a couple before, but they had to break up after the blackout. After a while, they both reach the rebel's place, where they find a priest. The priest was happy that Nora had brought the sniper, but the bad news was that their army was still being attacked. When the group reaches the place, they find some injured people sitting inside. The priest also tells that one of these people is missing. After hearing this, Miles immediately tells everyone to leave this place because he believes that the militia is interrogating his men,
and this is the right time to run away from this place. Nora agrees to this but asks him for 30 minutes because she wanted to cure the injured. Unfortunately, this decision of hers proves to be wrong because after a few minutes, Captain Adam is seen with the militia. To stop him for a while, Miles sends his best shooter upstairs with a sniper, and this plan of his works because the sniper sent upstairs injures many people of the militia, which forces them to retreat. The night falls because of this fight. Here in the basement, Miles and the rest of the people try to make a tunnel with the help of a wall so that they can go from one side to the other, but this plan of theirs completely fails because while digging a tunnel in the wall starts falling, and Miles falls into that hole, which ruins all their hard work. Right after this, the sniper sitting on the roof dies, after which Captain Adam and his people enter the basement. But Miles, who is a very good swordsman, he makes some people fall down and captures Adam. Then he locks him in the other room and starts thinking of ways to escape from here. The surprising thing here is that Adam recognizes Miles, which leaves everyone in the room surprised. Seeing this, Charlie asks him, "How do you know each other?" Here the story takes a different turn. Here Adam reveals that earlier Miles was General Monroe's right hand. Even Miles is the person who has made the militia so dangerous by teaching them to fight. But despite being so revealed, Miles keeps his focus on killing them. Miles has a deal in front of him in which he will surrender himself to Monroe militia, but in return no one in his group will be harmed. For some reason, Adam accepts this deal, maybe because he cares about his life. Anyway, soon after this, Miles is taken to Monroe militia. From here, the scene goes into a flashback. Here we see the scene 2 weeks after the blackout, when Miles came to Chicago to find his brother and his best friend. Monroe was also with him. On the way, he meets two men. One of them was beating the other very badly. As a good man, Miles goes to him and takes out his gun and shoots one of them. After this, the two friends help the injured man, who was none other than Captain Adam, and that is why he still respects Miles so much, because he saved his life. From here, the scene comes back to the present. As soon as Miles was taking the militia to his place, he crosses a bridge on the way, where there is suddenly an explosion which shocks everyone. Meanwhile, Nora and Charlie save Miles from them. Before leaving, they make another explosion so that they don't get caught. On the other hand, Maggie and Aaron, who are on a mission to find Grace, finally reach her house. But there was no one in that house because Grace had left the house. Here, Aaron, who claims to be an old employee of Google and says that he knows a lot about computers. After this, he goes to the basement where he finds Grace's computer, which tells him that it was recently made, which tells him that there was electricity here. However, when he investigates the computer for many hours, he finds no clue there. Aaron gets tired and goes upstairs to show the computer to Maggie. That's when his locket starts shining and a song starts playing in the headphones nearby, where Maggie's iPhone gets a moon, because of which she sees her children after many years. And with this, the episode ends here. Don't forget to like and share the video.